Legislators have been holding hearings demanding answers from the Children, Youth and Families Department, or CYFD, after the tragic death of a young Albuquerque boy. That would be Amaury Varela. There are several bills in play to boost the agency's budget, another to increase salaries to curtail high turnover rates, and even help with tuition for social workers who commit to helping CYFD. Amaury had reportedly disclosed abuse to school authorities 1 year before his death, but there were no open cases on him with CYFD. And this week we learned that Albuquerque police were called to his residence last year, but never filed a report, despite a 911 call that revealed a disturbing mental and verbal abuse in the household. Dee Dee, there's something about this that just is so disturbing. I could barely watch the lapel cam we saw this week of the young boy. And I'm very upset about how it seemed to me an officer was not hearing this woman saying, you have to hear the abuse. You have to have heard what was going on here. And we heard a lot of excuses from the cop about, well, the guy might have been this, might have been that. Where does this leave us all with CYFD? We hear that it's a tough job. We all know that. But is there anything systemically we can change at CYFD to solve this problem at this point beyond money? Is there something beyond money we need to do here?
Well, I think it's like a societal norm, a community norm that you are upset about, and that is, you know, do we really take child abuse and domestic violence seriously here in New Mexico? Because it is at the root of a lot of our rankings and a lot of our problems.
I agree.
This is something that the legislature has been working on, the CYFD staffing problem for years, back to the Johnson administration.
But it can't be about the money with the staff. Let's start there.
Yes.
It cannot be about the money. You cannot wash out almost an entire hire cycle of 314 people. It has to be something more than just the money.
It's a tough job.
Sure.
It's a very tough job, and usually people who have tough jobs are compensated for the risk and for the, you know, extra hours and the psychological stress that they must under, but that is not true in our state. You can get more money working as a social worker for APS or working as a social worker for one of the MCOs, one of the nonprofits that you can for the state.
Sure.
And so everybody deserts the ship.
Absolutely. Rob, of the bills that are proposed on the table now, do you feel a fix is on the horizon here, or this more nibbling at the edges of the problem?
Well, we're already 2 weeks into the 30-day session. It'll be hard-pressed to try to get something done in the final 2 weeks. Ultimately, the responsibility really lay with his parents. And there are so many fingers that can be pointed.
Who's responsible once the parent shows that they are no longer able to be responsible? Isn't there a step after that?
Well, this kid was failed by everybody.
Okay.
I mean, the APS is getting more heat about this thing. I mean, why the cops didn't look at the tape of this is beyond anyone's comprehension. But like so many other things, ultimately it's the responsibility of the parent. And the only concern that I would utter is that we have to make sure that we don't go too far in the other direction, where now if we make a bunch of changes, that suddenly a child is taken away from their parents too quickly.
Right, and the complications law, of course, is, I think I know where you're getting at. My upset here is about being heard. Nobody heard the child. Nobody heard this dispatcher trying to tell this officer, we have a real problem here. Because I think what Dee Dee was getting at is we don't automatically click there. Is that the beginning of solving the problem? Is just more understanding?
One aspect of it. I think clearly the procedures that the police had are failing. I mean, they're not working to protect the vulnerable person in this, the victim. You know, questioning Amaury, both in the situation that where we saw the lapel cam this week, questioning him and the parents in front of each other, and also the situation where APS contacted the police and they questioned Amaury in front of his mother.
That's right.
Those are not proper procedures.
Right.
I mean, anybody understands why that's a situation where you need to separate that and you need to talk to the child individually. Clearly, there was a 911 tape even that had that clearly expressed some form of abuse. And I think it isn't just about throwing money at the problem, but helping financially that CYFD and the people who work there is a big part of this problem. I mean, to know that they've actually returned $6 million last year to the general fund from that agency, and yet we have these huge gaps in care.
Sure.
That's just really something
Sure.
the legislature needs to fix.
I think I know where you would go on this money thing, but is there something else in your view that has to go with the money?
No,
The additional salary?
I think, look, Gene, this may be the only time that you and I agree on spending more money.
Okay.
I had a lot of this stuff in my district when I was in the legislature. I represented a vast array of New Mexico, and these people are woefully underpaid. We can talk about police officers, firemen, all that. You know, we love when a tragedy happens. To, you know, when 9/11 comes, when a war starts, we talk about our servicemen. Nobody ever talks about these, mostly women and some men, that are daily driving out to the hinterlands in this state to see the worst in society, and we ask them to do it for less than minimum wage, it seems like. Now, Governor Martinez has put 300 new employees in CYFD since she's come in. Her budget that differentiated itself from, this is a stark contrast in her budget proposal from the legislature, where she said, I don't want to give everybody a pay raise. We talked about it on the show. I want to take all that money and strategically pay people like this and implement these plans. So I think there's a move. Rob raises a great point. What I am fearful of when the legislature gets involved, having been one, is we do nothing, and then when something happens, we go so far to the other extreme. But I'll tell you, everybody has hit the nail on the head. The one thing that I think we haven't talked about, and we don't have time to today, is we have a systemic culture in New Mexico of putting children back with the parents. Some people suck at being parents. They have no responsibility to be a parent. We require people to get a driver's license to drive a car, but for some reason, our process at CYFD, and this is not a Republican Democrat, it's going on now, it happened with Richardson, happened with Johnson, the administrations. For some reason, CYFD believes it's to get kids back with parents as quickly as possible. I think it's time we start saying some people aren't fit to be parents, and those children should be taken care of before the parental right of a moron is protected.
And the other thing I would add real quickly is that what's really disturbing, well, there's so many disturbing things, but one of the things that's disturbing is that Anne-Marie told people.
Right.
You know,
Multiple people.
in a lot of instances, the child or the abused spouse or whatever doesn't say anything.
That's right.
In this case, he did, and he still got
for
failed.
help, and he got failed by everybody in the system.
That's right. Coming up, we look at how creativity can play a key role in economic development in our urban core.